Hey friend, ever since the recent incidents of Bishop Emmanuel, there has been an ongoing attack on Christians, ministers of God, pastors, and even followers of Christ. A recent incident occurred where a pastor by the name of Reverend Glenn Germany of the Jesus Dwelling Place Church in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania was held at gunpoint by a 26-year-old dude who was officially identified as Bernard Polite. As he was preaching, the daughter was also in the congregation taking a look at everything that was happening. Please be advised that violent graphics, viewers' discretion is highly encouraged. Let us see what happened in this video. So as we can see from the video, the pastor was preaching on a regular day when the young boy suddenly jumped and pulled the trigger.
At one point I see him, he's sitting in the back before I come up and speak, and then he comes from the back and he moves all the way up to the front of the congregation.
Some of you may ask, was he injured? If you take a keen look at the video, there was a miraculous intervention that stopped this young boy from pulling the trigger. We can see that the gun was suddenly jammed during the first attempt to shoot the pastor, which gave the pastor an opportunity to escape for his life. We can also see a similar pattern from the tragic stabbing of Bishop Emmanuel, where the attacker was unable to stab Bishop during his first strike. I don't know if you see this pattern here, but I will come back to it later. Let us continue what happened in this video. He then continued to pull another trigger. The church deacon suddenly tackled him on the floor. They held him to the ground until they eventually disarmed him. Of course, the pastor was afraid for his life, and all he could do was to protect his life. What a sad incident.
It was just another, Sunday service. We was really just having a good time in service. The praise and worship was wonderful, excellent. And I seen this guy while we were in the midst of praise and worship. He came into church, then he left the church. And I didn't think it was nothing strange because I was so used to people would come in and they would hear the music and they would listen to the music and they would leave out.
I could only imagine what was going on in the mind of this pastor. He probably thought that this is an opportunity to wake up in the morning and preach the gospel to my congregation. But unfortunately, he was faced with a life and death situation where he had to choose to leave or to die. Many of the mainstream media news are so focused on the intervention of the deacon and the church members who helped to prevent the gunman from shooting the pastor, although we cannot deny that they actually helped to stop the gunman. But let us take a minute to ask ourselves, why was the gunman not able to pull the trigger at the first instant? What is really protecting these ministers of God? Some people call it luck, some people call it higher power, some people call it a divine intervention. But let us hear what Pastor Glenn had to say.
I'm totally grateful because I understand the protection of God and the protection of God being with me, and this is nothing less than a miracle because
click, you heard him shoot it, it clicked. So God jammed the gun so that the bullet didn't come out.
You can see when the officer came in and he emptied the clip of the gun and he removed the bullet was still in the chamber and the bullet had markings of it getting jammed in there.
Let me tell you something, my friends. The divine intervention is the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is our divine helper given to us by God. When you become a genuine Christian, the Holy Spirit becomes your divine helper who intercedes for you and also helps you in time of need. Pastor Glenn knew that this was not just a miracle, but the divine intervention of the Holy Spirit. Many people want to see that the gunman is currently in jail, facing the punishment he deserves for his crime. Unfortunately, that is the mindset of many young people. They want to see that justice is served, including me. I love to see justice, but I also love to see forgiveness.
One thing that he said to me, today you ducked a taco. And I'm like, what did that mean? I ducked a taco, but I understood. He was saying, I was shooting at your head and I missed you. And he was letting me know that, he was told to come in here and shoot the pastor, and then I asked him, well, why did you? I don't know why I did it. And he actually apologized to me.
What happened next will shock you.
Later, when he was in the car, I had a chance to go out to the police car and I talked it to him and I let him know, my name is Glenn Germany. I want you to remember that. And I want you to know that I forgive you. And I want to let him know I love him. I told him that, please, whatever it is that he needs while he's in there, get in touch with me. We'll help him as much as we can possibly help him. And that's just, doing what we're supposed to do, loving people.
I also believe that we make decisions in our lives that would eventually affect us in the future. On the other hand, when things like this happen, we are so focused on justice and peace and love, which is very good. But let's not also forget that we are in a generation where the devil constantly tries to attack us as young people. There are many mind-controlling demons, addictions, suicidal thoughts, and many destructive acts that young people are facing day and night. This is what the mainstream media always ignore.
He was dealing with a situation, and when he came to the church, that situation was still active in his mind. You know, it was from some type of drug intake, and I'm no specialist. He wasn't there. It was like it was him in his body, but it was not him there. When I asked him why did he do it, he said that there were spirits inside of his mind telling him to go shoot the pastor.
I want you to take a minute to imagine, what if this young man was your brother, was your son, or maybe your family members? What would be going on in your mind right now? And remember, when something is spiritual, physical steps cannot provide a permanent solution. Pastor Glenn understands that this is a spiritual battle that we must fight as Christians, as much as we are also determined to see justice in our generation. I hope this video would be an encouragement for you that as much as we are trying to see justice in our world, let us also be focused on praying for the younger generation and also stepping up to help them in time of distress and need. That is why on this channel, we are determined to build a generation of young people who are ready to use their gifts to help and make a difference in this world. So before I leave, I want to challenge you with this question. What are you doing to change the bad things you see around you? Are you only focused on the bad things, or are you also focused on using your gifts and talent to help those around you, those in need, those who are suffering? Remember, everyone has a gift to offer. What are you giving? What are you doing to help those who are suffering, those who are troubled, and those who are in need of what you have?